Hey everyone, today I've got something just a little bit different for you. This is the Bullet Man, and he is by Devil's Bargain Toys, and this figure was specifically a JoeFest 2023 exclusive. Now, I wasn't actually at JoeFest, I wasn't able to make it this year, but I was hooked up by 118 Archive. He picked this figure up and then just recently sent it to me, and I'm super grateful because this really is a cool figure. I was really wanting to get my hands on this pretty bad because, come on, it just looks really cool. This may be one of the best 1/18 scale figures I have got this year. And I mean, that's saying something because we've had the Hiya G.I. Joe figures pop in. So I don't know. I mean, this is a pretty good looking figure. Now, this figure, from what I understand, is completely sold out. I think there was only 300, maybe 500 available. But I have learned that it is completely sold out. You might be able to find him on eBay. Now, I don't know if there are any plans to redo this figure. I don't know, honestly. I mean, truthfully, this is pretty cool. This has a secondary head. The head that comes on the figure, you can see the face up here, but this one just has a metal helmet cover face mask type of thing. And you know, you could have him as a leader and get like 3 or 4 more of these guys and put this head on and have like Bullet Man and his bullet troops or something. So, you know, I would think that, you know, maybe doing another run of these would be pretty cool. I'm not on the business side of things, so I don't know if there is any profit necessarily to be made or not, because you want to, with the small companies, you got to be really careful. It's a very fine line of making figures and generating your income and paying for the figures and being able to make profit to make this justifiable. So I'm just happy that this was actually made because, well, I have one in my collection now. And, you know, just if you really like it, it's going to probably cost a little bit of money. I think this was a $40 figure. And if I understand it correctly, I believe that some of the fresh Monkey Fiction or the Eagle Force tooling was used, like body parts, to create this figure, and it was just repainted. So that was a great use of resources, I think. I do know that Fresh Monkey Fiction is going to be releasing an Eagle Force figure called Riot Warhead that's going to essentially be this figure here, just in a suspiciously blue color scheme that I think looks pretty good. I'm definitely going to be picking up. So what all comes with this figure here? If you can see, there is actually a lot of accessories. However, those accessories are mostly hands. We have 5 sets of hands over here, 3 sets of hands here, and if you consider the set that's on the figure, that's 4 sets. So, 5 sets of silver hands to blend right in with the arms, 4 sets of they're silver hands, but they got red gloves on because you can tell they've got silver fingertips sticking out. So they're like red gloves. So if you want to break up that silver, then you can do that. There are a lot of hands. You've got like open hands. Let's see if I can actually show these off. We're going to do this here. We got some open hands, and we've got some kind of C-shaped hands, and we have trigger hands, kind of upside down trigger hand. We've got an open palm hand. I should be doing it with this hand, actually. I should be holding the hands with this hand. We've got silver fists here, right there. And then for the red gloved hands, there is fist hands. And there are grippy hands, the C-shaped hands. And kind of open palm hands. And a trigger finger hand. Now, I showed you a trigger finger and a C shape. I actually have a trigger on the right side and a C shape on the left over there. So I've kind of broken up because I'm going to show you how well this figure can hold another accessories, because this weapon, because this figure does not come with any of that sort of thing. He also comes, as I mentioned, with a secondary head here, which is pretty neat in itself. Like I said, you could use it for troop building because it looks like it could be like a flying robot, essentially. You know, this would be great. I'd like to get a couple more of these just to have this head on there. And so that's why I think it'd be pretty cool to have more of these figures. Then there is a jetpack, and this thing is actually really pretty neat in of itself. So this is a pretty nice detailed. I mean, look at the stuff in there. It's got some details. It's got a peg. Now, I'll mention something about the peg in just a moment. You've got some rocket flames coming out. These can be disconnected if you don't want them on there. This one is kind of loose, so probably for storage-wise, I'm going to take these off. But how well do they fit on this figure? Let's take a peek here. So when you put the figure on, or put your backpack on, the jetpack on, if you notice, there is just a little bit of room here, and it does like to wiggle around. It doesn't just fall off, as you can see, but it does like to wiggle around just a little bit, but it won't go on all the way. That's a little disappointing, but I suppose you could just get in there with some snips or something and snip off the peg just a little bit, and it'll be a tighter fit. I'm a little bit leery of doing this since this figure is not available anymore. He also comes with this, and this is a little bit strange to me. This little, kind of a, I don't know, what is this, like a web gear of sorts? It's a holster for a gun, and it goes around the torso area. When you put this on the figure, as soon as I can put this on the figure, wasn't thinking about doing this. But anyway, when you put it on the figure, then it kind of blocks the hole back there, and you could probably pull this down and then put it in, but he doesn't come with a gun, so I'm not really sure why he's got this, unless it's just designed like if you have a Fresh Monkey Fiction or an Eagle Force gun. I say Fresh Monkey Fiction, but it's an Eagle Force related thing. If you have a weapon or a gun, you could slide it in there, and maybe that would be the case, you know? I don't know. I mean, it's cool. It's a nice little accessory. Don't get me wrong. It would have been cool to maybe actually have a little gun to slide in there. That would have been an extra thing, but maybe that would have added like $5 or something to the price, and sometimes, you know, $1 saved for a cool figure is probably preferable. Now, this figure does come with two other little things, and I honestly don't know what they are. And they are these little rings right here that are very difficult to see. Let's see if I do that. There are these little rings, and I think they might go on the wrist, but I'm not sure. And there are 2 of them. So it's kind of hard to hold them up for you to see, but they're just 2 little rings, and the best thing I can figure is they go on the wrist, but I don't know for absolute certain if they do. Now, this figure has all this, I would say, the standard articulation or the standard updated articulation of an Eagle Force figure. If you're familiar with that line, we'll pop the head off, and you can see there's just a ball joint there. There is no hinge or anything at the neck. The arms go up, arms rotate, and there's a twist and a bend, or a hinge and a swivel at the elbow, and same swivel and hinge at the wrist. Nothing like a torso cut in the middle, just there at the waist, and this figure is kind of tight. You can only rotate it so far, like that, but that still gives you some pretty cool, like, don't mess with me poses. And you can, if you wanted to do the splits, he can go about that far. If you want him to sit, he can go about there. Now, this figure does have a thigh rotation, double pin knees, and then a rotation at the boot cut, a rotation, a hinge and swivel and all that stuff down here at the ankle, and that's that. And so, yeah, the legs feel a little bit loose, and that's not terribly surprising to me. Let's get this figure kind of backed up and standing here. The reason that's not very surprising to me, if we can get him standing up, there we go. The reason it's not very surprising that the waist or the legs are a little bit loose, now I can't quite get him lined up anymore, is because I have the Larry Hama figure from Fresh Monkey Fiction. I'm going to scoot all this stuff off to the side so I've got a little bit more room here. So all that stuff is now going to go away. Stand up, Bulletman. I've got their Larry Hama figure, which is a great figure. I really like it. The problem is, he's tight and loose all at the same time. Like, the knees have really loosened up. The ankles are really loose, if you can see that there. And it's a little disappointing how loose these legs have actually gotten over time. I think, if I understand it, this is also the arms are kind of loose and the hands. So it's gets to be a little bit difficult to get this figure to stand properly. I kind of got to do something like this or that. And maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm the only one with this problem. I don't know what the Eagle Force collection is like. Yeah, see, it's really difficult to get the ankles and the weighted balance. There we go. We got him to stand. Larry Hama is able to stand. Anyway, so I don't know if that's my problem or not, but that's why I'm not surprised that this figure has a little bit of issue with the stand. Now, let's do some quick comparisons to other figure lines. We'll begin with showing you some Marauders figures, male and female, right there. That's about his height there. And I've got some DC Spin Master figures we'll put right there. And I've got some, is this Vintage Collection? Is that what they're called? Vintage Collection for Star Wars, right there. And here's a Spin Master. I may have to hold her up because she's a difficult one to stand, but here's a League of Legends Spin Master figure. She towers over the Bullet Man. Next, I've got a couple Boss Fight Studio figures that will stand right there. And then some Halo figures. So we got a Master Chief, which is the tall figure, and the Marine, which is a little bit smaller of a figure, to kind of give an idea of that line. Then here's a Dime Novel Legends from Chicken Fried Toys. You can see where he stacks up. And from Zika Toys or whatever, the Riot Trooper O-Ring figure. And then finally, I've got the Haya Storm Shadow G.I. Joe figure, as well as a Fortnite figure. Gives you an idea about what range. So he's pretty standard. I would actually say he might be just on a little bit shorter side from a lot of these other 4-inch or 1/18th scale figures. But I'm sure I don't have an Eagle Force, so I have Larry Hama, which essentially is using Eagle Force parts. As you can see, he stacks up perfectly well with those figures. Eagle Force and Bullet Man can go into battle together. So the only weapon that I have currently available is this gun, and this is from the Riot Trooper from Zika. And let me slide this in here, and you can see that looks pretty good for him. I would think, obviously, all the Eagle Force weapons work just well with this figure, so this weapon also works. The Fortnite figure, or the Fortnite weapons, might just be a little bit too large and cartoony for the hands. That's a Fortnite, so I guess I lied. I do have a Fortnite weapon here. But I think that that's not going to work very well. Probably the Dime Novel Legends rifles and handguns will work really well. Let's take this head off so you can see what he looks like as an automaton. There we go. Get him a little bit closer. Dude, look at that. That would be an awesome Bullet Trooper. Yeah, Bullet Man and the Bulletettes. I don't know. That would, get a few of these. That would be really cool to have a little army of the Bullet Troopers. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Dude, we need some more of these made. I would buy a couple more. I would definitely buy, if there were more available, I would probably buy like 3 more just so I could have this head on some. What would I do them? I got no idea. I just think it'd be fun to have a leader and some troopers. But anyway, this is the Bullet Man, a JoeFest 2023 exclusive from Devil's Bargain Toys. I have to admit, I've never heard of them before until JoeFest 2023. I think they're pretty new. And I don't know if there'll be more figures coming out, if they're going to drop some more figures. If they do, I think doing this tooling from the Eagle Force or Fresh Monkey Fiction catalog works really well. I really do like the looks of a lot of these figures, and I just hope... I've heard that there's some more updates coming. This is definitely a different body style than I'm used to seeing, and I'm really considering getting into the Eagle Force line, and the Larry Hama figure, and this is just really pushing me towards that edge, and I think I really want to get into it. So you might see more Eagle Force review videos in the future. Anyway, thank you for stopping by and watching. I will see you in the next video.